Time to let the Willis watchdogs out. Katie Pavlich is the editor of townhall.com in D.C. Aaron Task is the host of the Daily Ticker. And George Jarkesy is the chairman of the National Eagles and Angels Association. George, what do you make of this story?
Well, I think that it's tied to Europe, and it's not going to be the first story you see where people are losing money on the European crisis. It's not going to be the last. What makes this so interesting, though, is that they're talking about a brokerage firm dipping into the client's accounts. And that's really what's giving everybody a problem here and really needs to be looked at.
But George, you're going to blame Greece. You can't blame Greece for everything. I mean, at the end of the day, somebody's got to take responsible for dipping their hand in the till, right?
Yeah, and at the end of the day, MF Global made a huge leveraged bet, 40-1. They bet 40-1 on European sovereign debt. It was a horrible bet. And when it wasn't paying off, they said, oh, we have this pile of money over here. We could just sweep it over here into our pile and make it look like things aren't so bad, which is, forget it being a no-no, it's illegal. And that's what the FBI is investigating. There could be criminal charges stemming from this.
Criminal charges, maybe. Katie, how does this play out in the political arena? I mean, what are Americans going to take from this?
I think people are happy that Chris Christie won right about now, all right? I mean, I think they're happy that Corzine is no longer in office. But, you know, this doesn't look good. I think people are really starting to realize, you know, Europe was a big part of the downfall of this company. And they're starting to say, you know, Europe really needs to get its act together because it's affecting the United States in a really, really serious way and on a personal level with people's personal accounts.
Who makes that kind of bet
exactly.
anymore? Nobody does that.
You're basically betting that the European government's going to bail you out. That's what you're betting on. And it was a stupid bet. It was really stupid.
I don't get it.
Just one note on the politics. John Corzine is one of Obama's biggest bundlers. So this could have an impact on the Obama campaign, at least the financing.
Bundling so much
no,
anymore.
he will not. No, he will not.
The controversy, though, continues for Herman Cain. A third woman, number 3, is coming out citing what she considers aggressive and unwanted behavior when she worked for him back in the 90s. She's remaining anonymous, but says Cain made sexual remarks to her and invited her back to his apartment. Now it turns out the other 2 women accusing him of sexual harassment received over 30 grand in severance packages, and even his foreign policy credentials are under fire when he incorrectly suggested that China doesn't have nuclear power. Katie, how is this going over? Is this the end of Cain's candidacy, do you think?
I don't think it is. You know, look, we do have a third woman coming out anonymously, the third source accusing him of sexual harassment. But until I see evidence, names, photos of the accusers, I'm not buying it. On the foreign policy issue, that's more of a serious, you know, campaign concern. Herman Cain really needs to get his foreign policy up to speed if he's going to be commander-in-chief. That's something he can't be making gaffes on. It's common knowledge that China is a nuclear power, so that's something that he really has to get under control.
And what do you say about it, George? Because I think this whole issue with China and foreign policy, you know, we knew this was going to be an area where Herman Cain did not have a lot of background.
Well, I think that it's clear not only in that, but in this handling of everything over the last week that his campaign people are failing him miserably. And this is where a guy like Romney, who has a very well-tested, talented group that has been through things before, comes through, and a guy first crack out is going to struggle right now. And that you're seeing those struggles in the way they're handling various things, from foreign policy to this new news.
He does sound, but you know, that's part of his refreshing aura, I think, is that he never sounds like a politician.
That is part of his appeal, and he does come across as a regular person, and I've been told personally people really like him, and you want to hang out with him, and that's great, but that doesn't necessarily mean I want him to be the president of the United States of America. And I think Katie's right. I think the gaffe about China and other things he said, he was quoted saying, you know, he sort of was making fun of Uzbekistan. If they ask me who the president of Uzbekistan is, I won't know and I won't care. That's not presidential, and we don't need that in a very dangerous world where American power is being spread all over the world. And I don't want us to run to somebody who thinks that we should just come all back on our shores and be isolationists again. That's not good.
Right. Well, and from the campaign to money, they're closely interlinked. MasterCard today posting huge profits in its third quarter. They're reporting a 38% increase, and it's driven mainly by a surge in credit card and debit card transactions. What do you make of this?
This is the great conundrum of our economy right now. Consumer confidence is going over a cliff. Consumer spending is up. Retail sales in September were very strong. The spending portion of GDP in the third quarter was very strong, and now MasterCard comes out with these really blockbuster earnings, and the savings rate is coming down. Americans, I think we tightened our belts for a couple of years, and he said, you know what? I'm tired of that, and I want to go back to living some kind of lifestyle I feel comfortable with, and we're putting money on the credit card again.
Why should I save when the federal government can't do this?
Exactly.
What do you say, George?
I say that you're starting to see inflation, and that's the only way out of this mess. Nobody wants to talk taxes, and they're going to be more upset when they feel the pressure of inflation, and you're seeing it, and it's showing up there.
Katie, pop in here. What do you say?
I think it's a timing thing. I mean, Christmas is right around the corner, so I think people are really starting to shop for Christmas, quite frankly. And credit cards are a way you can pay for Christmas presents and Thanksgiving sales and everything else without having to dip into your cash account.
Well, I still say American families are the smartest spenders these days. Certainly better than the federal government. All right, Katie,
Yes.
Aaron, and George, thanks for coming on tonight. Great job, as always.